I still do an annual inventory either in person or with the phone with my sponsor. No matter how well I do my 10th step, some stuff just creeps in there and crawls around and builds up as a resentment. And I know better. I can't afford that anymore. Question on page 60. We asked 64. We asked ourselves why we were angry. We set our answers on paper. To conclude that others were wrong was as far as most of us ever got. Page 66. That's the top of page 66. The rest of page 66, one of the most dramatic pages for me in the entire big book. He says it's plain that a life which includes deep resentment leads only to futility and unhappiness. When the book uses the word only, time has taught me that he means it. I didn't believe it at first. I thought he was exaggerating. I thought he used words like only for kind of like hyperbole and exaggeration. I've come to believe a life of resentment leads only to futility and unhappiness. We squander the hours that might have been worthwhile, no matter what they do to me. I'm the one that takes it on and builds it and builds it and builds it and builds it. He says the insanity of alcohol returns when we drink again. With us to drink is to die. Now watch this. If we were to live, we had to be free of anger. I misunderstood that. I thought it meant I should never get angry. Not true. I'm human. I'm going to get angry. I don't stay angry. Somebody cut me off coming down here today. I was angry for about 13 seconds. And I just pulled the little metal cord and said, let him go. It's not worth it. I used to chase him home to the driveway and share. Bill's driving school free of charge. I don't have to do that anymore. We look back at the list. We're talking about the first 3 columns, or however you answer the questions on 64 and 65. We look back at the list for it held the key to the future. Wow. Starting to look at them and what they did and how what they did made me feel. How can that be the key to my future? Well, we're going to get there in about a half a page. Here's how that works, and this is miraculous. The reason I know this book is inspired is pages like 66 and 67. Bill was 4 years sober when he wrote this. Less than 4 years sober when he was writing this, but right at 4 years sober. There's no way he knew enough to write this. It's got to be inspired. He says, we could not escape, we could not master these any more than we could master our drinking. This was our course. We realized people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick. We did not like their symptoms. They disturbed us. But we realized they were sick too. Now watch this. Third line, page 67. This is in the resentment inventory, before column 4. We ask God to help us. We ask God is repeated more in the big book than any other suggestion in the big book. And I missed it for years. I'm not supposed to do step 4 without God's help. I took step 3 to get God's help, and we ask God, we ask God, we ask God, we ask God shows up over and over in the end of resentment inventory, fear inventory, and the sexual conduct inconsideration inventory. I'm supposed to be asking God for help as I do my 4-step. We ask God to help us show them the same tolerance, pity, and patience. Well, that's when it starts to suck. These are the people on column 1, and I'm not even to column 4. And the book says, show them pity and patience and tolerance. You call your sponsor. You say, have you read this crap? And your sponsor does just what Frank did. He starts laughing. And you think about getting a new sponsor. This is how Alcoholics Anonymous saved my life. This is how Alcoholics Anonymous makes my life worth saving. Not by not drinking. I got to not drink to get here. I got to not drink to stay here. I got to not drink to come to meetings like this and listen to people like me and go, oh my God, he's a preacher. You're trying to cram this down my throat. No, I'm not. I'm just telling you what finally worked for me. It took me a long time to read the big book. Last line in that paragraph, top of page 67, God saved me from being angry. Period. That's a full sentence. That's a full sentence. And it's in the present tense. It's one of those sentences in the book, most of the books in the past tense. But there's some really, really, really important sentences. God saved me from being angry. Right. And you can use that sentence any day. You don't have to be doing a 4-step to use that sentence. I use this sentence all day. Because I get angry when somebody rubs me the wrong way. I don't stay angry. And the only way I don't stay angry and get more resentments, God saved me. I can't do it myself. Why would I? Give God a chance. Give God the ball. Let him run with it. See if he trips, slips, stumbles, or falls. God saved me from being angry. Thy will be done. We avoid retaliation argument. Then we do column 4, and here's column 4. Big question. Middle of page 67. Where had we been? The spotlight is moved from column 1 and 2 from them in step 4 to me in column 4. And the rest of the program is going to be about me, not them. Except when I make amends to them in 8 and 9. We'll get to that next time. Where had we been what? Selfish. If you forgot what that is, go back to page 62. Where had we been? Selfish. Dishonest. What am I dishonest about? I'm dishonest about being selfish. I wrap myself in my cloak of self-righteousness and say, self-righteousness. It wasn't my fault. It was the cheese. It was her. Where have we been selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and frightened? Just answer the question the best you can. It goes on to say, we're going to admit our wrongs, honestly. And we're willing to set these matters straight. We're going to start getting ready to do step 8, leaving the column 4, step 4 on the resentment inventory. Look at the fear inventory. It says it touches everything in our life, an evil and corroding thread. And there's one question, one big question, page 68, wasn't it because self-reliance failed us? Were you self-reliant when you got here? Of course you were. Did you know you were self-reliant when you got here? I didn't. I just was self-reliant. Like asking a fish, what's water? Doesn't know what water is. It has nothing to compare it to. It's just all water. You ask me what self-reliance is, I don't know. I was 100% self-reliant. Nothing wrong with self-reliance. Self-reliance is a virtue. I made a lot of money being self-reliant. But it doesn't go far enough. He says in 68, self-reliance was good as far as it went, but it didn't go far enough. When it made us cocky, that's pride. You see the word cocky in the big book, it means pride. I was very prideful in my self-reliance. That's why I had so much trouble with step 1 and step 2. When step 3 comes to think of it, I didn't really need step 4. I just want to make amends, get the hell out of here. And then he says another tongue-in-cheek sentence on page 68, perhaps there's a better way. Gee, do you think? I'm dying here. I'm not drinking. I'm doing my first and second inventory 6 months sober in the summer and fall of 81. And I felt worse than I did the day I came to AA because there's nothing to anesthetize all these feelings anymore. Like go to your first Al-Anon meeting. They come in sober. Think about it. You think you got it tough in AA? Tell you what, they come in sober. For them, it sucks from day one. The wonderful, simple, beautiful fear prayer, bottom of page 68. We ask God to remove our fear. Now, here's how you do that. Let's do it together. You ready? God, please remove my fear. Don't expect it to happen right away. It might. Once again, our job is not to remove our fear. Our job is to ask God. And then act like maybe he will and go on about your business. God, please remove my fear. God, please remove my fear. God, please remove my fear. God, I'm not kidding. 10 times, 12 times, 7 times 70, however you want to do it. None of these prayers are one-shot deals. God, please remove my fear and direct our attention to what he would have us be. It does not say do. Now we're into be. Because be is on the inside. What I'm being, what I'm becoming, what I'm becoming less than, what I'm becoming more than, what I'm becoming less of, less self-centered, what I'm becoming more of, more God-centered. Letting go of the fear comes on the heels of starting to God save me from being angry. These inventories are in order for a reason. I got to get enough anger out of the way to even deal with the fear. And then he says, now about sex. That's how he says it on the bottom of 68. And then it turns out to be, look at the questions in the middle of 69. Where had we been selfish, dishonest, or inconsiderate? What's inconsiderate mean? Don't take the other person into account at all. Dominate, manipulate, do whatever you do, but don't take their feelings into account at all. Get what I want when I want when I want it. And if it's in your way, too bad, suffer. That's inconsiderate. And there's an inventory in the big book to deal with that. And inconsiderate becomes one of the big defects, along with selfish, dishonest, and afraid, and resentful. We ask God, page 69, we ask God to mold our ideals. We ask God to help us live up to them. We ask God what we should do, page 70. God alone can judge. Let God take us to better things and be forgiven. Be forgiven. Will we say the Lord's Prayer tonight? Is that how we'll close tonight? When we say the prayer tonight, listen to what's in the middle of that prayer. It's really the forgiveness prayer. Forgive me as I forgive others. When we started asking God back in the resentment inventory to save me from being angry, treat them with love and tolerance, consideration, that's the beginning of the forgiveness process, which we're going to look at for about 5 minutes before we close tonight. It's on the page 2 of your handout. Resentment inventory, fear inventory, sexual conduct / inconsideration inventory, step 4 in the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous, beginning at once following step 3 and continuing through page 71, where it says, we hope you are convinced now that God can remove. That's a carry back to the C of the ABCs. God could and would if he were sought. See, we begin seeking our relationship with the God of understanding in step 4 by asking God, asking God, asking God, as we go through the inventory, if we do it the way the big book's written. We hope you're convinced now God can remove whatever self-will has blocked you off from him. The only reason for taking step 4 is not punishment. It's not embarrassment. It's not to shame us. It's to find out what in me is blocking me from the help I need, God. That's a good reason. That's a really good reason to learn self-examination. And that's where we begin in the recovery program after step 3 of Alcoholics Anonymous. But writing all that stuff down is very confusing. And so thank goodness they give us a 5th step. The reason for it's very simple on the top of page 72. Having made our personal inventory, what should we do about it? We've been trying to get a new attitude. How about a new attitude of getting honest about me with me? How does that settle for a new attitude? How about getting honest with me about me? And starting to take the focus off them and put a little focus on me so we can get some help with me so me can quit being me's biggest problem. And with that new attitude, we're trying to get a new relationship with our Creator. Relationship. not judgment, not punishment. Remember, the word in step 3 is care. I want the care of God. I get the care of God in relationship with the God of my understanding. And he says that's what we're trying to do. I want a new attitude. I want this new relationship with a power greater than me that can help me. And the third part of that sentence, and discover the obstacles in our path. That's what we just wrote down in step 4, but I don't understand it. I need someone to explain it to me. You go to page 75, there's one sentence in the book that tells you how to do step 5. Are you ready? Middle of page 75, we pocket our pride. There it is again. I'm going to have to talk to somebody about this stuff.
Oh, I'm so afraid. I'm going to be embarrassed. Nobody's ever done the stuff I've done.
Wrong again, Chuck. Everybody's done the stuff you did. You just think you're unique. We pocket our pride and go to it, illuminating every twisted character, every dark cranny of the past. Why? To get embarrassed? No. Look at the promises on page 75. Once we have taken this step, withholding nothing, how many people had to go back and knock on the door in their first or second, fifth step and say, okay, I left something out? Anybody? The rest of you aren't paying attention. Withholding nothing. We are delighted. I didn't see that coming. I didn't know how good I was going to feel telling somebody the truth about myself. I didn't see it coming. And the book says we are delighted. And by the way, the promises of step 3 on page 63 are in the past tense. It's what happened to them to convince us to go forward with this deal. Look at the promises on page 75. They're in the present tense. They're happening now. Because of the 4th step and the 5th step, we are delighted. We can look the world in the eye. I was not looking people in the eye when I came here. I'm looking everywhere but in your eye. We can be alone in perfect peace and ease. I learned the difference between loneliness and being alone. I love being alone today. I love being with Tina. I love being with y'all. And I really love being with God because I'm never alone. I didn't know what that was, but it started to happen in step 5. Our fears fall from us. I can't explain that. They just fall from us at the most unexpected time. I keep asking God to remove my fear, and one day he does. Thank God I'm not in control of that. It does not say Bill shrugged off his fear. It says our fears fall from us. We begin to feel the nearness of our Creator. We've gone from an idea to a relationship. We've gone from an idea and a hope in step 2 and 3 to a relationship. May not be totally comfortable, may not be totally locked in, may not be totally solid, but it says, the book says, we begin to feel the nearness of our Creator. We feel we're on the broad highway. We're having a spiritual experience. Oh, by the way, the feeling the drink problem disappeared will often come strongly. Drinking is in the rearview mirror because I'm starting to practice spiritual principles. And I'm starting to deal with all my emotional turmoil without liquor, with God's help. I may still be restless, irritable, discontent, but I'm using God, not booze, to deal with it. Recovery begins during 4 and 5. And then returning home. We find a place where we can be quiet for an hour. We take the book down and we ask 5 questions. We're going to pick up with these 5 questions next time because they really lead into step 6. It's your homework. Mission impossible if you choose to accept it. 5 questions, very bottom of page 75. Carefully reading the first 5 proposals, that's the first 5 steps. We ask, have we omitted anything? For we are building an ark through which we shall walk a free person at last. Number one, is our work solid so far? Are the stones properly in place? Remember the arch he talked about in step 3, the arch to freedom? Talk about the arch to freedom here, freedom from the bondage of self. Have we skimped on the cement put into the foundation? We tried to make mortar without sand. We'll pick up with those next time. I want to briefly talk about forgiveness. It's on the back page of the handout. I got 4 minutes. Right? How to move from blame and resentment to forgiveness. It is plain that a life which includes deep resentment leads only to futility and unhappiness. You can read the rest of that on page 66. Once again, business of resentment, infinitely grave. We shut ourselves off from the sunlight of spirit, and we die. That's not a metaphor. I shut myself off from God's help. Eventually, I will either die drunk or I will commit suicide. Sober. Our moral inventory, 4 and 5, is sandwiched between our self-surrender of step 3 and the self-surrender at a deeper level of 6 and 7. That's what we'll talk about next time. We list our resentments and we start asking God to save us from being angry and treat them in love and tolerance. This is actually the beginning of the forgiveness process. I want to reassure you of 2 things. I hope you'll read this and think about it, pray about it. We can talk about it next time if you like. Forgiving them does not let them off the hook. Forgiving them does not mean they're getting away with it. They already got away with it. They're not feeling the pain anymore. I'm the one carrying the resentment. A resentment is a lack of forgiveness. And the only way to treat resentment is to become willing to forgive. I cannot become willing to forgive without God's help. I will not forgive on my own. I'm not wired to do it. People really dominated us. We're powerless over them. The wrongdoing of others had the power to actually kill. Our life is unmanageable. We realized that people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. Maybe they're just jerks. Maybe they're just mean. People suffer abuse, or people in here suffered abuse as children. I understand that. Terrible. Pain's never going to go away entirely. The memory may never go away entirely. Not forgiving them is not about them. It's about me holding on to the resentment and blocking me from more help from God. You don't have to believe it. You need to believe that I believe it and try it. We ask God to help us show them tolerance, pity, and patience. Why is it worded that way? Because I will not do it on my own. I want to. I haven't had a drink in over 42 years. I really want to show them pity and patience and tolerance on my own. I still can't do it. God help me forgive them. To save me. This isn't letting them off the hook. It doesn't mean they shouldn't suffer the consequences for their wrong. This isn't about that at all. I think we misunderstand forgiveness, and I think it's one of the single biggest payoffs in the spiritual life. If resentment is the number one offender, forgiveness must be the number one payoff. And I guarantee you, there's somebody you're thinking of right now. You're a little pissed at me. I made you think of them. Right? God saved me from being angry. Doesn't say God saved them from me being angry. This book knows what it's talking about. Thy will be done. We avoid retaliation or argument. God will show us how. This is a big how it works. God will show us how to take a kindly and tolerant view of each and every one. In closing with this, column 4 of the resentment inventory, putting out of our minds the wrongs others had done, we resolutely look for our own mistakes. Where had we been selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and frightened? Next time, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I have asked Mark to read the 12 traditions.
Good evening, my name is Mark and I'm an alcoholic. The 12 traditions of Alcoholics Anonymous. Long form, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on AA unity. For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God, as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants, they do not govern. 3, the only requirement for AA membership is the desire to stop drinking. 4, each group should be autonomous except for matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. 5, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. 6, an AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. 7, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8, Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9, AA as such ought never to be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10, Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. 11, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. 12, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities.
I'll now call upon people in attendance and on Zoom to share. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less so we can hear from as many people as possible. Let's start our sharing tonight with, was there anybody that wants to share? Volunteers? All right, how about Chuck? Would you like to go up and share?
Alcoholic, power and soul of alcohol, lots of other things. Thank you, Bill. Thanks for your service always. And thanks everybody for being here. My experience as it started out with step 4 was I went to a treatment center in 1980, and I was so sick I didn't know I was in a treatment center. I just thought I was in a hospital to rest up, and then they said, you have to come out in this room, these other people. I'm like, what other people? I said, these alcoholics. I said, what the hell is going on? And I saw that there was a blue sign, blue and white, right? At the steps hanging up on the wall. And they go, that's what this is all about, this thing right here, you know. So I said, okay, I got a drinking problem. God, maybe, I don't know, maybe they want me to be a missionary. I don't know who turns the will over to God. I don't know. And then I read Searching Fearless Moral Inventory of Ourselves, and I said, no. Not now, not ever. Am I ever even considering that? No thanks. I went up to the desk and I said, I'd like to leave. And they said, you can leave, but it's going to cost you $10,000. I said, I'd like to stay. And I heard a lot of things, but I didn't have that willingness to do that, to look at myself. And then I went out and drank after a short period of time, of course, which I think happens to a lot of people. They're not willing to do the 4th step, not willing to look at themselves, and they take the other option, you know, which is to make the pain go away, which is used, right? So, and eventually I got a sponsor, and he said, okay, we're going to do the 4th step. And I said, okay, I'm willing to do that. And I was scared to death, like you said, for all those silly reasons. but I did it. And my sponsor said, you don't have to like it. You just have to do it. Just say, and he said, today's the day. Pick up your pencil. Yeah. Pick up your pencil right now, or put it on a piece of paper. Once I started writing, and all came out. But the payoff, like you were talking about, was the fifth step. And we went out and sat under a tree out in the woods. And I think that he fell asleep even, you know, I was so bad, you know. And, but what I got out of it was, I thought at the end, and I got, it was like a high. It was such a good big release for me to do the first fifth step. And I thought, well, I think this guy who seems like he's forgiving me for all this. And he's telling me that God's going to forgive me so I can forgive myself. You know, and what I got out of that was I can be a part of. I no longer had to be a part from. And I got into the program, and it saved my life. And I'm still here today. So I'm grateful for that. I'm blessed. Thank you.
All right, anybody on Zoom want to share? How about Lloyd? Do you want to share?
Hi, I'm Lloyd, and I'm an alcoholic. Bill, thank you so much. This was just phenomenal. And thank you so much for how much you are driving home forgiveness. I know for me, that's something I constantly need to remember, both to forgive and then also to accept forgiveness. What a wonderful reminder, and what a wonderful job you're doing teaching us through the steps. I really appreciate it. And I'll let somebody else talk. Thanks.
Thanks, Lloyd. Ms. Jay?
I'm just sharing out of alcoholic.
Sure.
My family. Thank you so much, Bill. I really love it. It's a good thing. So true. All these things that you say has come true for me. Today, I don't allow anyone to upset me. Hey, I've learned that. But you know, I'm quickly to say, only for the grace of God. I don't ever want to forget what I've done. And I can use it for whatever somebody has done, said. I can use it for similar things to me. I've done the same thing too. But I don't do it today. Program has taught me better than that. Program has taught me better. Program taught me how to love me. I was an abused child. Really, really rough. I didn't just have too much confidence in myself. My mother always said I'd never amount to nothing. And I believe that. I just didn't pay attention to it. I did what I wanted to do, whether good, bad, and different. I did it, didn't think nothing about it. So I got in here. Y'all told me that I was any worse than told me I was as good as anyone else. That's what you told me. And it took me a while, but I started to believe that. Program taught me how to love me. Once I learned how to love me, I have no problem loving you. Whatever you say to me, I can look at it and say, for the grace of God, there go I acting like that. We hope they found a way to act better one day at a time. I live my life today. I love all of you. Thank you for letting me share.
All right, are there any burning desires? Sponsorship is vital for quality and permanent sobriety. Oh, are there? Okay. An AA sponsor is someone who has recovered from the illness of alcoholism as a result of practicing AA's 12 steps in all their affairs. Can we please see a show of hands of those willing to be an AA sponsor? If you're without a sponsor, you are encouraged not to leave here tonight without first discussing sponsorship with one of those who have graciously raised their hands. You can also see Mark or myself or Jennifer. If you're a female, Jennifer, raise your hand. Mark. All right. And they'll be happy to help answer any questions you have about sponsorship. Are there any AA related announcements that anyone would like to share tonight?
Hi, everybody. My name is Susan, I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Susan.
Hi. Spring Fling Trivia Night's coming up August 19th. You can go to springflingstl.com to buy tickets. And tickets are only sold online. So it's springflingstl.com. Trivia, again, is August 19th at Crestwood Community Center. The theme for decorations and costumes is Star Wars. It's not the theme of the whole trivia. Yeah, for the best dressed and best table, you'll get a fabulous prize. Let's see. Starts at 6 o'clock with AA speaker and a young speaker, an Allen speaker, and then we start at 7 o'clock, 7:15 with trivia. Be a great time. springflingstl.com. Thank you.
Thanks.
Long walk from the back. My name's Matt and I'm an alcoholic. I am our group's AA Grapevine rep. The Grapevine is the International Journal of Alcoholics Anonymous, or meeting in print. On the back cover has the Serenity Prayer. The back 2 pages has traditions and steps. It is read by countless people across the globe who submit their stories. The July is the corrections month. Everything in the July issue is people inside and outside the walls submitting their experience, strength, and hope. So if you'd like to get a subscription for yourselves or donate one to a corrections facility, see me and I'll get you hooked up. Thanks.
Thanks.
Jim Foley, alcoholic. The 73rd annual, 73rd Missouri State Convention will be July 28th, 29th, and 30th in Jeff City, Missouri. This is put on by the Eastern and Western District of our area of Missouri. Speakers, alcothons, etc. I've got more information if you need it. Thanks.
We're also having the Summer Sizzler here on August 19th. And Miss J is one of our speakers. It'll be held at this church. Who else has it? Curtis? Curtis J. From Louisville, Kentucky. There's a flyer on the table. Okay. Oh, and then our literature. Wait a second. Yeah, our literature chair, Rob O. Do you have anything to share?
I'm Rob, I'm an alcoholic. We have literature on the back table for sale. We have big books, 12 and 12s. We have some old grapevines. We got all kinds of stuff back there. If you have any questions, just see me after the meeting. Thank you.
You'll find flyers and pamphlets on the literature table. Oh, we did grapevine. All right, so we'll stick around after the meeting for fellowship and help anyone in need. Please see Harold or me if you wish to make AA on the Rocks Your Home group. All home group members are asked to be active in service inside the group and regularly attend our quarterly business meetings on Zoom. We recognize new home group members during our birthday celebration on the last Wednesday of the month. Please use the QR code on the literature table to join the AA on the Rocks secret group on GroupMe. Inside this group, we share announcements, conduct group business, and support one another. This group is open to home group members and regulars at AA on the Rocks. It's time to celebrate sobriety milestones. I'll now turn the meeting over to Grace.
Oh, that's high. Hi, my name is Grace. I'm an alcoholic. At AA on the Rocks, we have a chip system for anyone new to AA or celebrating a sobriety birthday for 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months, 9 months, and 1 or more years of continuous sobriety. Is anyone online or in person here for their first meeting since their last drink who would like to receive a 24-hour chip? Okay. What about 30 days? Anybody on Zoom? All right, 60 days. Okay, 90 days. Uh, 6 months. All right, 9 months. Okay. 1 year or more, or we'll do more. Oh yeah, stand on up.
Finally. Hi, I'm Mary Louise. I'm an alcoholic addict, and I celebrated 2 years July 1st. Took me long enough, but Mary Ann stuck with me through thick and thin. So thank you, Mary Ann. I sponsored for 20 years.
I have to say, because I'll be out of town on birthday day, that Mary Louise has been in my life for a long time. She's going to give it to my life, and we shared a lot of life. And the last 2 years being on the same journey together is just in this meeting. She just picked this meeting. I don't know that I would have come here, and I've gotten more out of it than she has, I think. And they put words in the big book. I know they did. You're making this up.
They're very sneaky.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Am I missing anyone on Zoom? Okay. All right, well, we all have today. All right, we have a special AA birthday celebration on the last Wednesday of the month. On this incredibly fun night, after our main speaker, we invite all birthday participants in attendance to receive a birthday cupcake. For those in attendance and on Zoom, we allow each birthday recipient to share for 3 minutes or less. It's common for sponsors to present coins and gift cakes on this night, and for family and friends of the celebrants to be in attendance to help celebrate this joyous occasion. After the meeting, we will have Kelly dogs and sweet things for everyone to enjoy.
What's a Kelly dog?
It's a hot dog made by Kelly. Sweet thing is it's a sweet surprise. We mix it. Sometimes the Kelly dogs is actually pizza, so honestly, just food. Food. Yeah, you really should. You said don't ask questions, just go with it. All right. Our group supports the GSO birthday plan, and we ask all home group members and regular attendees and anyone else who would like to contribute $1 for every year they have been sober. That's $2 over there. You are encouraged to make a one-time donation I just said that. Please see Susie after the meeting, which is over there, to make your donation. And that's my line. I'm out. All right. Thanks.
We'd like to remind everyone that we are guests in this facility, so we ask that everyone please help us leave the premises better than we found it by doing your part to clean up. We'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight and supporting AA on the Rocks. Can we please have another applause for our speaker? Thank you for coming out tonight and sharing your experience, strength, and hope. As we prepare to close the meeting, please let us give praise and honor to our higher power for the gift of sobriety. Lastly, may we never forget our primary reason for gathering tonight, which is to continue to carry the message to the alcoholic who still suffers. Would everyone please help form a circle, and we'll close tonight's meeting with the Lord's Prayer. Bill, you want to lead us out?
Sure. Doing it.
You got
You're good. You're good. Who never misses a meeting.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us each day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses. And we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. We're this.
Better yet, stay.
Stay.
Stay, you don't have to come back.
There you go.
If you stay, you don't have to come back. Right.
Never again.
Try that, amen, stay. No, it didn't. Brilliant. Amen to that. Thank you for coming. Never know. Never know where it's gonna lead.